Hi guys, welcome back to Barovia Made, and today we are making a desk. I'm making a new desk for myself. I got some cheap wood from the lumber yard that was going on sale because it was all bent and warped and whatnot. So we're going to have to work around that. We're going for a 7 foot by 3 foot desk. I'm even going to try to do some fancy little drawers and stuff. So we'll get straight into the project. I need to go and take my saw outside and mill everything up outside because, well, I don't have enough room in here to be able to feed an 8 foot board through a table saw. So let's get on with it. Right, so we are done with milling everything up, getting a flat edge on each side. As you can see there, I took one of the straighter pieces of lumber that I had and used it as a fence so I could sort of use the table saw as a jointer. Uh, it's worked pretty well. There's a few ones where there's still a few gaps or whatever, but I'm hoping I can close them up with clamping pressure. But here's everything. I've put it in the clamps roughly just to see how they go together. This is how everything's joining up together. It's pretty good. Gaps are pretty seamless considering the tools that I have to work with. This is the only one that has a problem really. There's a bit of a gap in there, but I'm hoping I can just squeeze it out with the clamps. Right, we've got them flipped all over 90 degrees. Gonna get our lovely tap bond and we're gonna, well, just spread it and go with it. I don't know how much of this glue I'm gonna use, but hopefully I don't have to buy more. Let's start pouring, I guess. Just slap it on there. It feels very wasteful, but it's pretty sure we're gonna need this amount of glue. Yeah, that's basically the whole bottle of glue gone down the drain there. Maybe I should have done this a bit more carefully. Oh god, this is wasteful. I don't want to waste this much glue. You can see that I put way too much on there. So I'm going to use a little spatula to spread it around, maybe scrape some back up into the bottle. Because I am broke. Cannot afford to waste materials. Oh, I'm making a right mess of this. Tell you what, we're just going to roll with it. Very wasteful today, very wasteful. One last good spread of Rooney. Right. Let's do this. Oh god, I can see my floor already, it's ruined. I shouldn't have worn my good joggers for this. That's that. Push these together. Make sure everything is lined up either way. Rag. I need a rag. Oh, I'm out of rags. Oh, why did I put the tighteners on this side? Oh no. Oh, God's sake, that clamp isn't clicked in properly. Oh no, I've got glue on my pants. No. These are my good pants. Why did I do woodworking in my good pants? You stupid boy. I really should have thought this through before doing it. Gonna put you there for now. Because you're in my way. We got it all done. I'm absolutely knackered. I'm covered in glue, ruined my new pants. And yeah, so I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to pack it up for the day and we'll come back tomorrow and we'll see what we're going to do with this table. I think the next step's going to be flattening it. Right, so we are done with one side, and as you will see in that time lapse, I did this side a lot differently to this side. When you see people using these router sleds, they go across like this, and that's what I did for half the table. And then I decided, well, I cut with the grain on every other situation. Why not try it with a router? And it has left a much better surface finish than this. It's a lot more flatter as well. So if you're going to build a router sled, I recommend you do it like this because it went so much more quicker and it was just so much more easier. I was taking the same depth of cut and it was just a breeze. So if you're going to be doing it, do it this way. I'm going to take a few more skim passes because all of these passes were quite deep cuts. So what do you call it? Obviously, the surface finish isn't the best. So a couple of skim passes just to make it a bit nicer, and I'll flip it over, do the other side, and then we can move on. Hi guys, sorry about the mess, but we got the tabletop all flattened, and I'm just going to address this little part here. I've set out a little jig so I can get my router and cut a nice square block out of it so I can inlay it. And yeah, it's quite a big chunk, but we should be able to do it. Hopefully I can get it consistent with this little jig I've got. Got a fresh bit on there. Right, so I've cut my little inlay out and I've cut it slightly oversized so you can only just wiggle it in slightly. And I'm going to see if that helps with creating a seamless glue up. Now, I haven't done a very good job at making sure this part is square here. Partly because I'm working with a soft wood and partly because my chisels aren't sharp and my sharpening jig hasn't arrived yet. So I'm just going to roll with it for now. This is the underside of the table anyway, and it's my table, so I'm not even going to notice it. So the back is going to look horrible, but I want to make the sides look good. After I get my bit, I might end up putting a bow tie there or something. But either way, we're just going to roll with this now. So we're going to squirt some glue in. And we're just going to tap it into place. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing your inlays like this because the pressure of this going in could split the boards. But this table's so chunky and this is so close to being the right side, it's only slightly oversized, that I'm not too worried about splitting the boards. It still could happen. So if you're doing this with one of your tables, I wouldn't recommend it, but it's what I'm doing. There we go. That's the inlay in. All we got to do now is wait for the glue to dry, flatten this off, take the end off there. Well, I'll take the end off when I'm squaring this whole table up. But yeah, that's the inlay in. Hopefully it looks all right. Right, so off camera, I've gotten a lot of these soft bits of wood. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but I had these little random streaks going through, and there is a crack over there in the wood. This is all cheap lumber, so there's going to be, you know, some little bits and bobs we've got to do. I was planning on this being the underside of the table, but there's a lot of character with, you know, these grooves and stuff like that. So I'm going to take some leftover epoxy I have and fill it all in and see what it looks like. I might end up making this the top. The other side is really consistent. There's no defects or anything in it whatsoever, really. So I don't really know which side is going to be which, but I'm going to treat this like it's going to be the top side. I'll treat the bottom like it's going to be the bottom side. And once we've got it finished, we'll decide which side we want to have it. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to mix up this epoxy. Hopefully this epoxy is still good because it's just been sat in here for about 6 months now. So yeah, I think this is 1-to-1. Yeah, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Get my old thing. I think we'll go for 400 milliliters. So we need 200 of each. I haven't even checked to see if this table is level. It should still be level from when we flattened the table. Let's see if it's level this way. Yep. Yep, we're level. Good. That could have been bad then. I could have poured the epoxy and it started running all over the place. But yeah, let's do this. Oh, oh, that's really thick. Hopefully this epoxy's still good. It is winter now, so the epoxy is going to be pretty, what do you call it, thick. That's going to be way more than we need, I think. So, a waste of a lot of epoxy, really, I think. But to be honest, I'm not doing anything with this epoxy anyway. It's just been sat in here for months and months, so I need to use it before it goes bad, really. And it probably already is bad. So, let's hope this sets, or else I'm going to have a hard time digging it out. Can't find my spoon, so we're going to measure in chisels in case I have to pour more. I don't think I'm going to have to pour more, though. So, 1 chisel, 2 chisel. We'll go for 3 chisels. I think that'll be black enough. And now we're going to mix this for about roughly 5 to 10 minutes to make sure it's thoroughly all mixed in, so we have the best chance of it sitting right. Oh god, that's really thick. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and mix this, and I'll come back to you once I'm doing the pour. Right, so I forgot to start recording for the first bit, but here's everything all mixed up now. It's very thick, but I think for what we're doing, it'll be alright. I'm just using the stick just to pour little amounts in and just slowly fill it up. I can tell you right now, I've mixed way too much epoxy up, so I'm going to have to try find something in the workshop to try and, pour and use it up. Oh, there's a bit of dust in there. Just pick that out. Yeah. If you do any epoxy pours, by the way, these little dental pick sort of scratcher things, where's my other one? They work really well for pushing the epoxy into the corners and getting right down into those cracks. So what I like to do is I like to just fill it up as much as I can. With this epoxy, I am by no means an epoxy expert. I've done maybe 2 pours in my lifetime, and one of them didn't go very well. So be careful when you take advice from me, because I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. Right. And after we've filled the crack up, take my little pick, just dig around in the hole, make sure it's all down there, make sure it's properly sticking to the sides. It also helps release any air bubbles, but because this epoxy is so thick anyway, it's probably not going to release any air bubbles. But it'll make sure we get into all those little cracks, run it through. Hopefully you can see my arm's not in the way. Sorry, I'm not a very good cameraman. But yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and do this for every single crack. And, every single crack, every knot that's got a crack in it. I'm going to try to use up as much of this epoxy on this table as we can, because I've poured way too much. Right, so we got all the epoxy pouring done. I had way too much epoxy. I could have done with about a quarter of the amount I had to fill up all these all these holes. So we ended up with a lot of waste. So I ran around the workshop picking up random scraps of wood and bits I had just to try and use the epoxy. So I've got a smashed up coaster that I've put a bunch of epoxy in, a random scrap piece of oak that was in like a sort of triangle shape. So I poured epoxy into it to make it into a block. Might cut it up and make a coaster or something with it, but I don't think I'll do anything with it. And then I got another bit of oak that I just split with an axe down the middle and poured epoxy into it, and I finally managed to use up all the epoxy. But these are all the holes and gaps and stuff that I filled up these cracks, and yeah. So in future, I'm probably going to be a little bit more diligent about how much epoxy I use, because yeah, that was quite a lot of epoxy to waste. Hopefully my router bit shows up soon so I can square the table off, because once I've poured all the epoxy and filled in all the gaps and I've squared the table off, I'm going to start on the drawers and stuff, and leave the sanding for another day, because I hate sanding. So I think what I'm going to do is just build everything, and then once everything's built, just go around and sand everything. Right, so that's the end of part one of the table build. I hope you enjoyed the video. Next one should be out soon. I'm just waiting on my router bit to arrive so I can go around, square up the table, and do all that good stuff. And yeah, this project's going to be very interesting. It's a long wait I've had to try and make a table. I've tried making myself a desk a few times. It's all gone wrong because I've been trying to do fancy things and all sorts. But I don't think I can go wrong with this table. So hopefully it turns out good. The only thing I think I'm going to struggle on is doing the drawers, as you can see there. Never mind, my camera won't zoom in. But yeah, I think the drawers are going to be a bit dodgy because I've never done drawers before. And it's quite tight tolerances, isn't it? But I think it will do. I'm just waiting to get room back in my shed because I have no room here. This is all the walking space I have. So it'd be nice to get some room back in the shed. And yeah, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. Stick around, subscribe for the next video, and hopefully this is a really good project. So, I'll see you in a bit. Stuff. I might as well have my... I'm talking too much.